Different artists work differently. A lot of artists work in the computer and just draw straight on that now, but I'm more like hands-on. I've always drawn, like, forever I've always like had pens and paper, and that's what I've been used to. From the first graphics I ever did were like pen and paper, so yeah, I'm sure it's a waste of paper, but yeah, I kind of like it. There's something tangible about it, and I know what I'm doing with working on pen and ink stuff. So. My name's FOS and I am from Lancashire in northern England. People ask me, like, when did you start drawing? When did you start getting into art? And I'm like, I've always drawn. It's like, I showed you sketchbooks and it's like 4 years old, I'm drawing Darth Vader versus the Incredible Hulk and stuff. I distinctly remember when I started skateboarding because it was after the Back to the Future had come out, and every kid on my block had a skateboard, and then my mum finally couldn't say no about me having a skateboard. Like, I would be really stoked on all the artwork of Jim Phillips and Pusshead and like VCJ and all these people, and I didn't even know who'd done them or anything. All I had was a magazine called Rad, and I opened the pages of it, and it was like looking into another world. It was like slime and skulls and like all this stuff that I was like, yes, this is what I'm about now. I don't care about football anymore. I don't care about soccer anymore. I don't care about like any of this stuff, like this weird little mundane factory town that I grew up in. It's like there was a portal into another world through the artwork of like, with all these skateboards, like all the art on these boards. And that was when I was like 13 or 14, and I've just been in that world ever since, I think. Like werewolf with someone's head. Right, first stuff I ever did in skateboarding, toy machine skateboards. That became a BAM board. That's an Ed Templeton board. Brian Anderson. That was a Chris Sen. That was a Mike Maldonado. And these are the originals. This is like me scanning this, streamlining it, put it into Illustrator, and then that was it, done. That was the board graphic. What's good about Franky is you never know what's coming. Like, you're like, what's he gonna do now? Because it could be literally anything.
Oh my gosh, bro. What the
That was the first time I met Franky. I just watched Snatch, and there's a character in Snatch called Franky Four Fingers, and I'm like, I met him at the Berrics, and I was like, hey, what's your name, mate? Because he did a trick at the Berrics that I've been wanting one of my team riders to do forever, and it was the 180 no comply fakie 50-50 down the rail, and he just did it, and I'm like, dude, like, that was amazing. He was like, oh, my name's Franky. I was like, Franky Four Fingers! This was the first draft of the bat. I was doing some other work, and then I talked to Ollie about doing a bat for Franky. So this was one of my first renditions of it. There was some more ideas. Like just trying to figure out how it fits on a board, seeing if I wanted to have it all scary or like kind of cartoony. That looks more like a pig. I like this guy, sort of kicking stuff. This looks a bit too serious. That one's nice, a little bit cartoony. Goes back to the first one I drew. I was like, I kind of like that. So I drew it out a bunch of times to try and get the right one. I was having trouble, as I remember, making the wings fit into the board. Kept trying to redraw it in red and like draw where I needed to shave off. All right, so this was some early color drafts for the board. I'd gotten it to a place where I knew what I wanted it to look like. Like we did some changes towards the end of it, but these were like my first, like just basic color mocks. I mean, you make anything glow in the dark, it's immediately cool. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, of course. Oh, I want the stuff that glows in the dark. I just want to see how it glows and if it glows good. I really like the way that the colors contrast together as well. Like the purple against the green, they're sort of almost complementary, but they're not quite. So it looks really good to me. I'm really stoked on how they colored it up. But that's what the process looks like. You know, you redraw something like 10 times, basically, before you get it right. So yeah, I've been a big fan of Franky for a long time, and I always follow his skating, and it's always rad. He's always like posting rad stories and like funny little clips, and you know, I've got to skate with him at my local park a few times. He's just a rad kid, man. He's like, I'm so honoured to have done his first board. I really think it's like a rad thing, one of those like rad things to look back on, you know, Franky's first board.